The reason why black people are so addicted to materialism is we use materialism to vicariously add wealth to ourselves. In other words, I don't think much of me. I ain't nobody, but if I put these Air Jordans on, I will be. If I buy this house in a white suburb, I will be. You understand? If I get this white woman, I will be. If I get this Louis Vuitton bag, I will be. So we use wealth to replace self-worth. We use materialism to replace self-worth. That's why we're shopaholics. That's why we're always competing with each other. And we got a big issue of self-hate that is always the elephant in the room. I don't care what the ideology is, socialist, nationalist, integrationist, Hebrew, Mormon, Nawapi, and God and Earth, Nation of Islam. And we've gotten so bad that the women and the men compete with each other now. So in most other races, the men might compete with each other, but the man and the woman don't compete. You ain't never seen no Chinese woman compete with no Chinese man. You ain't never seen no white man compete with no white woman. But in our community, it's literally everyone's competing with everybody else. So you got a husband and a wife, they competing with each other. So the ego is just out of control because everybody feels worthless, and feeling worthless, the only thing we think can give us a sense of ease is to know we're outdoing other black people. So we're in a rat race to literally outdo other black people. We wake up wanting to look better than them. We wake up wanting to dress better than them. We wake up wanting to make more money than them. Will Smith said what? Black people spend too much money they don't have to buy stuff they don't need to impress people they don't even like. You see, so you'll go out and buy a new car that you don't need and can't afford just so it looks better than the woman next door to you who you don't even know.
So let's get right into the question. What is your overall mission and message for the community?
I think that as African people, we all have to make a decision on how we're going to serve our Creator. And that we have to serve that Creator through the mechanism of serving our people. Because God doesn't really need us, but God uses us to help other people. And so in serving my Lord through helping my people, I've decided the best avenue I can do that is through education, helping and protecting our young people and helping their parents advocate for them, and ultimately building the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. So an educational institution will be my humble contribution to our people's struggle.
Wow, and that's a great contribution, I tell you, great legacy. And why is it so imperative in your mission to empower our black youth, our black boys?
Black boys, being black men, black males in general, are under attack in this society. We're considered public enemy number one. We're the scapegoat for every social, political, and economic issue in this country.
If you don't make it through basketball and football, that you must have a plan B. Because if you don't have a plan B, the white man has a plan B for you. It's called mass incarceration.
That black boys need to be taught early in life who they are and what they are with regard to this society. That they should not be lied to. Their situation should not be sugar-coated because they won't be prepared to deal with racism when they encounter it. So I feel the best way I can help black men is to teach them, number one, about who they are, number two, about how their enemy operates, and number three, how they can succeed despite the opposition. Unlike some folk who might make racism a scapegoat for blacks who underachieve, I'm not of that opinion. I believe that we can still achieve and still succeed despite the racism. We're going to have to swim twice as hard as everyone else, but we still can achieve. So there's no excuse for failure in my book.
I love that. Now we're in this new era of, social media culture, media culture. Why is media so powerful? I would love to hear your views on that. And can you explain how media is in place to condition mindsets?
Marcus Garvey said that propaganda has destroyed more men than open warfare because it kills your ability to think freely about the situation. That's why CNN is so powerful, C-SPAN is so powerful, the New York Times is so powerful, because it doesn't just give you the information, it gives you the perspective on the information that the government needs you to have. So when you look at most of the issues in our community, there's a perspective that comes along with the statistic. It's not just black men are in jail, they're in jail because they're lazy and were born to commit crime, versus they're in jail because they're miseducated and economically castrated. And so it's the message, it's the interpretation of the data that's so dangerous. And because most people assume that media is honest, believe it or not. Most people assume that media is honest. If it wasn't the truth, they wouldn't be telling it to us. Not true. Malcolm X said that the media can make a good man look like a criminal and a criminal look like a good man. It's all about fashion and the ideas of the society and the direction of the social order.
It was in regards to entrepreneurship. Why do you think it's so imperative for our community to embrace entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is critical for several reasons. Number one, too much of our community capital is going into the hands of other people who don't like us, and then they use that capital in turn to further disenfranchise us. So we're literally paying for oppression. That's number one. But number two, entrepreneurship is important because a man who isn't economically free ain't politically free either. And one of the reasons why black people are not unapologetic about our situation is we have to be concerned about our boss finding out about what we do and what we say, and we could be terminated. I spoke to someone about a month ago. Sister was in the military. I don't know if she was discharged or was knocked down a few ranks, but she was on Facebook talking about racism, and her superior officer found out, and she got in big trouble for that. You see, so when other school psychologists, they know what I know, but they don't speak on it because they work for the school district and they don't want to lose their job. You know, so to be suffering what we're suffering as a people, we can afford not to be honest in verbally addressing our situation. You got to be able to speak truth to power, and as long as we're working for people who are not black, we can't speak truth to power.
So entrepreneurship is definitely the key. And you know what? I love the fact I was looking at some more of your interviews online, and one of the things that that I've heard in one of your interviews that spoke volumes to me is how you said that everybody has their own agenda, but we all have to get on that same purpose because at the end of the day we're working towards the same cause. So can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because when I heard that, it was like, wow.
The Honorable Marcus Garvey said the greatest weapon used against the Negro is disorganization. And I think we're more disorganized now than at any time in our past. The Civil Rights Movement meant you were organized. The pre-Civil Rights Movement meant you were organized. Reconstruction meant you were organized. This right here is the period of African racial extermination. It's also the period of the economic castration of the black male. And this 40-year period has been the longest we've went as a people in our sojourn in America without a major movement. 150 years, these past 40 years have been the longest period we've been without a movement. Up until 1975, you could point to something. The Black Panther movement, Black Power, Civil Rights, Garvey, there was always a movement. Not now. Activism has been replaced with intellectualism. And so now the leaders and the scholars have contented themselves with only talking about the problem. They'll analyze it to death, but they offer no solutions. You see, even in the conscious community that I'm a part of with the scholars, most of them ain't trying to build nothing. They're just information groupies. We're not going to solve our problems by being information groupies. You see, we got to get the activism and we got to get the institution building. So right now we are at a standstill, at a time where we can afford to be at a standstill because most folks are not enterprising and industrial enough to build the systems, the processes, and the institutions necessary to pull us from where we are to where we need to be. The information is great, but I don't care how much I tell you you're a queen. As long as you got to go to work and answer to a disrespectful racist white man, you're not going to feel like a queen. So reality might be one thing, but your practice, your quality of life is something else. So the information has become the be all end all, but originally it was only supposed to be a means to an end. The information is a means to an end. We've made it the goal. So if information is the goal, there's no need to talk about institutions.
Okay.